Could this be the perfect dual-chamber PC case at a low price? Considering the features the case comes with, the number of pre-installed ARGB fans, and that ARGB/PWM fan hub, this could quite easily be the case, no pun intended. Today we are taking a look at the Chieftec Visio, not the Visio Air that comes with a mesh front panel, but the one featuring glass. The case is currently available at a very reasonable price over here in Europe. I'm talking of 90 to 100 euros, maybe even 80 in Eastern Europe. In US dollars, we'd be looking at roughly $100 to $110. On paper, this specific model seems to be doing everything right. But is that actually true? What about the build quality? What is it like building hardware into the case? And what are the fan noise levels like? Besides the case itself, almost nothing is included, well, except for the obligatory screws and paper documentation. I personally really like the simple and subtle aesthetics, exactly the way I like it. The gorgeous brushed aluminum on the right for the I/O also makes an elegant impression. The gap between this side and front glass panel, on the other hand, I find a bit irritating, but that's probably me complaining for the sake of complaining. The overall build quality is decent, but I will admit that one can tell right away that some cost saving is going on, starting with the steel and ending with the fans. None of that is particularly negative in practice, but noticeable. So as I see it, Chieftec has struck a good balance between quality and cost here. Both side panels, the solid and glass one, can be removed and snapped back on easily using a quick release or rather push pin mechanism. That's excellent, and I'm very happy to see that. Officially, ATX, Micro ATX, and Mini ATX motherboards are supported. eATX support is not specified by the manufacturer. Admittedly, I simply love the dual-chamber design and form factor in general. The PC case is effectively divided into two chambers. The power supply and drives, such as HDDs and SSDs, are moved to the other side, and fresh air is usually drawn in from this side. All of this creates that pretty glass display case look, which I find really awesome, but ultimately that's purely a matter of taste. What's truly outstanding here is the fact that Chieftec already offers us the full range of fans out of the box. A total of 6 120mm fans sporting neat ARGB lighting are pre-installed. The bottom and side fans also feature reversed fan blades to remain visually appealing and uniform in appearance. A nice detail indeed. Also part of the deal is a magnetic ARGB and PWM hub. All fans and their lighting are pre-connected out of the box. The pile of cables is not exactly small though. The fan speed can be controlled via a single PWM cable, while the lighting can be controlled either by sacrificing the reset button and control the ARGB with the hub/controller, or by synchronizing the lighting with the motherboard. A truly top-notch solution given the price range. However, there are no additional spare headers left if you wish to connect your own components, such as an AIO liquid cooler. The fans are perfectly fine in terms of noise levels, and their speed can easily be reduced to achieve those pleasant lower noise levels. Fresh air is drawn in from the side and from below. On the side panel, there are magnetic dust filters for both the power supply and fans. A full-length removable dust filter at the bottom, and another classic magnetic one at the top. Now, there are lots of cutout holes for cable routing in the Visio, but none of them come with any rubber grommets, a trend that now can be seen even in really expensive cases nowadays. Routing cables in the lower part of the case, also the motherboard's lower part, isn't always that easy. Some of those cables remain exposed and can't really be hidden that well, which is a price we have to pay due to the case being not exactly very tall, but in turn making it fairly compact. Those looking for a setup with minimal visible cables won't find this case particularly appealing then. But I'd like to point out that the Chieftec Visio is compatible with back-connect motherboards. These are motherboards where the power and other connectors are usually located on the back of the board. Now, which radiators fit where? At the top, you could mount up to a 360/280mm radiator. On the side, up to a 240mm one, and another 360 or 280mm radiator at the bottom. Not bad at all, I must admit. Even long graphics cards are generally not a problem here, as they can have a maximum length of up to 410mm. There's also plenty of space for the power supply, which can be roughly 200mm long at max. The hard drive cage is located quite high up there in the second chamber and can be removed. It can accommodate one 2.5-inch drive and two 3.5-inch HDDs, either one inside the cage or screwed to the cage outside. A second 2.5-inch drive can additionally be mounted directly under the PSU to the bottom of the case. However, I'd generally describe the HDD and SSD support as a bit lackluster or half-hearted. By that I mean the actual implementation of it. It's a good thing the majority of the target group has most likely switched to M.2 SSDs anyway by now. On the front, we get two USB-A 5GB ports and one USB-C 10GB port. Installing hardware into the Chieftec Visio actually went quite well. The only thing that bothered me a little was the fact you can't really hide the cables in the bottom part of the motherboard. Other than that, everything went smoothly, and you can definitely build gorgeous systems with today's case. Even high-end builds would look great in here. As usual, the mounting holes for radiators at the top are slightly offset to avoid any clearance issues with the motherboard's heatsinks. There's plenty of room to make small adjustments. The resulting airflow in the case is really nice, thanks to the many fans, but it's not particularly great either. Vertical GPU installation is not possible in here, but then again, I'm not a fan of such anyway, but I'm just speaking for myself. If we now go ahead and remove the side panel of the fully assembled system, you get to see my terrible 10-minute job of what I call cable management. Anyone with a little more patience and skill could certainly do a pretty fine cable management job in here. All the options are certainly there. Conclusion. The Chieftec Visio convinced me right away. Sure, it's not perfect, but considering the price and the case's generally overall generous amount of features, it actually scores really well. As already mentioned, you can tell you're working with a cheaper, more affordable case in terms of materials used, but everything is well thought out and there are no negative effects on the installed hardware or structural integrity. Highlights are, of course, the 6 very usable fans, all of which can be easily controlled using the PWM hub. The same applies to the ARGB lighting. It would have been even better if there had been a few spare headers on the ARGB/PWM hub, so we could have connected even our AIO liquid cooler to it. But at a price of 90 to 100 euros, or about $100 or $110, one can't expect too much. Without a doubt, I can recommend the Chieftec Visio, a truly fine case for budget-oriented enthusiasts. Do you like these dual-chamber cases, or am I the only one who's overly enthusiastic about them? How do you think the Visio compares in terms of price? If you enjoyed the video, I'd of course be very appreciative if you gave it a like, but feel free to push that dislike button if you feel like you have to. With that said, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and until the next one.